Lads, excellent, and I mean excellent news for the Indiana Fever.
It looks like we got some interesting news. Caitlin Clark was back at practice today.
I think Caitlin Clark in practice clothes right there kind of provided some folks with some hope. It's like, okay. Maybe she's about to come back, right?
The WNBA have said her estimated return date is the 12th of August. I think that's probably a fair estimate.
Is she closer to a return than...
Hold on to your seats, because the news we've all been waiting for has finally arrived, and it's better than anyone could have imagined. Caitlin Clark is back at Indiana Fever practice, and she's not just participating, she's looking absolutely incredible out there. We're talking full workout gear, moving at what appears to be close to full speed, and participating in drills like she never left the court in the first place. The footage that dropped earlier today has sent Fever fans into complete euphoria, because this isn't just any practice appearance. This is Caitlin Clark looking like she's ready to dominate the WNBA once again. After weeks of uncertainty, medical evaluations, and everyone holding their breath about her groin injury, Clark stepped onto that practice court wearing shorts and looking like the superstar we all know and love.
Was there at practice as the Indiana Fever gear up to beat the gum on the bottom of the shoe Chicago Sky tomorrow. I plan on beating them by 30.
Caitlin Clark is in gear. She is in gear at practice. Lads, that is super duper important. That is a big sign when it comes to Caitlin. So she's at 3.5 weeks for what is an injury that you can probably come back from after a week. Like a not even groin strain, like a 0 grade, like a grade 0 groin strain, a little bit of pain in my groin. Like that is an injury you can come back from after a week. That's an injury you can...
The way she's moving, shooting, and engaging with her teammates has basketball analysts saying this might be the most encouraging injury return footage they've ever seen from a professional athlete. If you're as pumped as we are about Clark's incredible comeback, comment, Clark's back. And let's dive into why this practice footage changes absolutely everything for the Indiana Fever's championship aspirations. This isn't just about a player returning from injury. This is about witnessing what could be the beginning of the most dominant second half of a WNBA season in recent memory. The timing couldn't be more perfect either, with the Fever sitting at 13-12 and desperately needing their superstar to make a serious playoff push.
As long as the Indiana Fever can thread water up until the 10th of August, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. Like the Indiana Fever are 13-12 right now. To make the playoffs, you probably need to be... You need 20... I would say 20 wins gets you into the playoffs. There's 8 teams in a 13-team league. 20 and 24 should statistically get you into the playoffs.
In about 2 weeks, they'll be around 10 games out of a playoff run. And there's speculation that maybe she's going to take the time off, take a look at where the team is at for the playoffs, maybe in a week or two, and then make a determination. I mean, look, if something happens, and I mean, God forbid, they lose 8 in a row and they're out of it. They're gone. Playoff hopes dashed, right? If that was to happen, then there ain't no point of her coming back.
So I would say she's going to ramp up and play a bit of 5v5 by maybe the 1st of August. And then it's going to be probably maybe another week. So they then play on Sunday against the Storm. I don't think she plays that one. They play Tuesday the 6th against the Sparks. It's an away game at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I don't see her playing that. I don't see her playing an away at 10 p.m. Eastern time game against the Mercury. I think her first game back is probably going to be either the 9th of August against the Sky or the 12th of August against the Wings. That would be my prediction. So, like, what's that? That's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today.
Let's stop playing games, Stephanie White. I hope you're not going to try to use these late season additions, the Ari McDonald's, the Chloe Bibbies, Caitlin Clark's injury. I hope you're not going to try to use this as an excuse for you not to make the playoffs. You need to make the playoffs, period. I don't want to hear none of these.
But based on what we're seeing from practice, Clark isn't just coming back to play. She's coming back to absolutely take over the entire league and remind everyone why she's the most electrifying player in basketball. The energy around this practice footage is unlike anything we've seen all season, and for good reason. This could be the moment that changes everything for Indiana's championship dreams. Let's be completely honest about how terrifying this injury situation had become for Caitlin Clark and everyone who loves watching her play basketball. We're talking about a player who had literally never missed a game due to injury in her entire basketball career. Not in 4 years at Iowa, and not during her incredible rookie WNBA season. Suddenly, she was dealing with multiple setbacks that had fans genuinely worried about her long-term health.
No injuries. Then, she missed some preseason games with what was announced as left leg tightness. Then she missed 5 regular season games with what was announced as left quad strain. Then she missed 5 more regular season games with what was announced as left groin. Now she has missed the last 2 games, regular season games, along with the 3-point shootout and the All-Star game in her house, Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, where she was reduced to being, of course, a coach/cheerleader. She's missed all that with what was announced as a right.
The groin injury saga started as what seemed like a minor issue, but quickly spiraled into something much more concerning when Clark kept having setbacks and re-injuries that forced her to miss crucial games. This wasn't just any regular season stretch either. Clark missed a WNBA All-Star game where she was the leading vote-getter from fans, which tells you everything about how seriously the medical staff was taking this situation. The fact that she underwent multiple medical evaluations, and the team kept saying there was no timetable for her return, had people genuinely wondering if we were looking at a career-altering situation. Remember, Clark dealt with a left quad injury earlier this season, then a left groin injury, and most recently this right groin strain that's kept her out for weeks. For a player whose entire game is built on explosive movements, cutting, and the kind of dynamic athleticism that makes her impossible to guard, any groin injury is absolutely terrifying.
Actually, as you probably know, won the Commissioner's Cup championship game without Caitlin Clark. So the leading vote getter in the All-Star game is, cold hard truth, having a terrible season so far. In fact, it has been so bad that sometimes I've wondered if maybe she took a few games off just to give herself a much-needed mental break.
Yeah, I think when the injury happened, like, it was pretty frustrating considering, like, I knew what the coming days were going to hold for myself. But I feel like dealing with that, and then also just like trying to look at it in the most positive manner that I can, and being a part of this, and that wasn't going to be taken away.
Do I think Caitlin Clark should take it as handy as possible? Of course. Take it as handy as possible. Go as slow as possible. Go at whatever speed you feel comfortable at, Caitlin. Take as much time as you need. Take more time.
But now we get to the absolutely incredible part that has everyone losing their minds with excitement about what they're seeing from practice today. The footage shows Caitlin Clark not just participating in practice, but moving with a kind of fluidity and confidence that suggests she's feeling completely healthy and ready to get back to dominating opposing defenses. We're talking about Clark in full workout gear, wearing shorts instead of the street clothes we've gotten used to seeing her in on the sidelines. Always the first major sign that a player is making serious progress in their recovery.
And watch the play on which she, according to the team, pulled her right groin. That came with 39 seconds left against Connecticut up in the Boston Celtics house. And the play just looks so routine to my eyes. There's no awkward slip or fall. She makes a sweet little feed to Kelsey Mitchell, breaking free down the baseline for a layup. No doubt Caitlin's the best passer in the W. But as she turns to trot back up court, she grabs her right groin. Then she goes and lightly bangs her head against the far stanchion in frustration. Then she goes to the bench and covers her head with a towel in abject frustration.
I'm going to say I've just been getting around the clock treatment. I've been still trying to enjoy this weekend and having a balance of that at the same time and soaking all of this in. And, once tomorrow comes around, we'll completely shift my focus to getting as healthy as possible. And, licking our wounds from the lose. Yeah, whatever. Just prioritizing that.
For sure about the WNBA is that it had better get Caitlin Clark physically and mentally healthy or risk sliding right back off the national map.
The way she's moving during drills shows no hesitation or caution, which is exactly what you want to see from a player coming back from groin injuries. Injuries that often leave athletes tentative about making explosive cuts and quick changes of direction. Her shooting form looks absolutely pristine, with the same effortless release and confidence that made her the most feared three-point shooter in basketball. The time off clearly hasn't affected her muscle memory or shooting mechanics one bit. The interaction with her teammates shows a player who's mentally ready to return, laughing and communicating like someone who knows they're close to being back where they belong. Coach Stephanie White's comments about Clark being able to do more in practice while monitoring her progress day by day suggest the medical staff is following a smart, progressive approach to her return. The fact that this was described as her first time back in live action since the injury means we're potentially looking at a player who's passed the biggest hurdle in her recovery process. You can see in the footage that Clark isn't favoring either leg or showing any signs of discomfort, something that would be immediately obvious given how closely everyone is watching her every move. The energy and enthusiasm she's showing during these drills suggests a player who's been dying to get back out there and is finally getting the green light to ramp up her activity level. This practice footage represents hope for Fever fans who have watched their team struggle without their best player, knowing that everything changes the moment Clark steps back on the court, healthy and ready to take over games. What makes this comeback story even more impressive is understanding the meticulous approach Clark and the medical team have taken to ensure she comes back stronger than ever. The decision to have Clark consult with her own medical team in addition to the Fever staff shows a player who's taking every possible precaution to prevent this injury from becoming a recurring issue throughout her career. That level of diligence and attention to detail shows someone who understands the bigger picture and isn't willing to risk long-term health for short-term gains. Exactly the kind of maturity you want from a franchise cornerstone. The rehabilitation process has clearly involved not just physical therapy and treatment, but also mental preparation for returning to the high-intensity environment of professional basketball after multiple setbacks. Clark's own comments about not being a fan of minutes restrictions show a competitor who wants to return at full strength, rather than easing back into action, perfectly aligned with what we're seeing in the practice footage. The fact that she's been working with multiple medical professionals and taking extra time to ensure complete healing shows the kind of professionalism that extends careers rather than shortening them. You also have to appreciate how the Fever organization has handled this situation, resisting any pressure to rush their star player back and instead focusing on what's best for Clark's long-term health and effectiveness. The communication between Clark, her personal medical team, and the Fever staff represents the kind of collaborative approach that gives everyone confidence this return will be sustainable rather than another false start. What's especially encouraging is hearing that Clark has been doing everything possible to maintain her conditioning and basketball skills during the recovery. That explains why she looks so sharp in these practice videos. While the timeline has been frustrating for fans, it reflects a thorough, cautious process that prioritizes doing things right over doing them fast. Clark's history of taking care of her body and approaching her craft with elite professionalism gives you confidence she's followed every recommendation and protocol to make this comeback real and lasting. Multiple medical evaluations confirming no additional damage or underlying issues means we're looking at a player who should be able to return to her elite level without long-term concerns. While Clark has been rehabbing, her teammates have shown why this Fever team will be absolutely dangerous when their superstar returns. A 13-12 record without her for significant stretches proves this roster has championship-level depth and the kind of collective talent that can compete with anyone. Sophie Cunningham has emerged as a legitimate sixth player of the year candidate, shooting an insane 58% from three over her last 6 games, averaging over 13 points per game, and bringing defensive toughness every contender needs. Kelsey Mitchell has shown she can step up as a primary scorer, recently dropping 21 in that statement win over the Las Vegas Aces, proving Indiana can beat elite teams even without Clark. Natasha Howard brings veteran leadership and steady production, giving the younger players room to grow. Aaliyah Boston is quickly establishing herself as one of the top young bigs in the entire WNBA. The Fever's ability to stay competitive and win big games without Clark proves this isn't a one-woman show. It's a deep, versatile roster that's only going to be tougher to stop once she returns. Coach Stephanie White has done a phenomenal job managing rotations and maintaining chemistry during a stretch full of uncertainty. The emergence of players like Ari McDonald, who's provided clutch minutes and unexpected boosts, is exactly the kind of development that championship teams depend on. What's most exciting? The defensive improvement. Clark is returning to a squad that's not only grown offensively, but also developed into a more complete unit. Her return won't be about carrying a team, it'll be about elevating an already dangerous one. So now the big question, when can we expect to see Caitlin Clark back? Based on the footage and positive practice reports, it could be sooner than expected. The Fever's schedule opens the door. August 9th versus Chicago or August 12th versus Dallas feel like realistic return targets, giving Clark time to ramp up without rushing it. She's already participating in live action. The medical staff is likely closer to clearing her for gameplay than they're letting on. Clark's preference not to have minutes restrictions suggests she's feeling confident and wants to hit the ground running. The timing of her return could be perfect for the Fever's playoff push, with crucial games looming. Getting Clark back against manageable opponents gives her time to get her rhythm before facing top-tier teams that'll define playoff positioning. The Fever's smart, day-by-day progression plan has minimized injury risk. Coach White and the medical staff are watching for any regression, showing they're focused on sustainability over speed. Even the signing of Chloe BBY on a 7-day contract reflects the Fever's mindset, win now while thinking long-term. BBY brings spacing and versatility, perfect complements to Clark's playmaking. Her return won't disrupt chemistry. If anything, it'll supercharge it. Clark's comeback isn't just a return, it's a transformation moment. The Fever have grown. The team is deeper. The defense is better. The chemistry is stronger. And their leader is on the brink of coming back fired up, rested, and ready to dominate. This is not just a feel-good story. This is the start of something potentially legendary.